So this article from the mostimportantnews.com about U.S. businesses are going bankrupt at an absolutely blistering pace. So it says, why is the number of business bankruptcies in the U.S. rising so rapidly? It is because the economy. It isn't because of the economy doing well. Every day there are more stories about businesses that have failed, and that is clearly reflected in the numbers. We haven't seen anything like this since the Great Recession, and if our economic troubles continue to accelerate during the months ahead, 2026 is going to be very messy for the economy. Earlier today, I found an article which explained that the number of small businesses that are filing for Chapter 5 bankruptcy has set a brand new record high. A 6-year-old federal program designed to help the smallest American businesses cut debt and get a fresh start has set a record for the number of cases filed. Court data shows more than 2,200 people in small firms filed bankruptcy this year under the so-called Chapter 5 rules. Creditors are just on their necks, said Carol Fox, the court-approved trustee who oversees more than 24 cases filed in Southern Florida. Interesting that Southern Florida. So this is really bad news. Small businesses are traditionally the primary engine for job growth in this country. So the fact that so many of them are going belly up is not a good sign at all. Damn. Meanwhile, large businesses are going bankrupt at a very alarming pace as well. I mean, yeah, Wendy's, for example, considered a large business. Meanwhile, large business, yeah. In fact, through this first 7 months of this year, the number of corporate bankruptcies in the U.S. was at the highest levels we have seen since the early days of 2020 pandemic year. Uh, so far in 2025, meanwhile, the total of 446 bankruptcy filings is the highest for the 7th-month stretch since 2010. When large numbers of businesses fail, hiring slows, and we typically see scale layoffs all over the nation, and that is precisely what is happening. During a recent interview with Fox News, Nick Haley's son admitted that not a single one of his friends that recently graduated from college has been able to get a job. During a recent interview with Fox News, who is Nikki Haley's son? Is Nikki Haley a Fox News reporter? They got a link right here. I'm gonna pull it up. My friend group all graduated with great degrees and great schools, and not one of them has a job. Not one. He said great degrees and great school. So it's frustrating because they did everything that they were supposed to do. They put in the time, effort, the money to get educated, and they put in the time, the effort, and the money. Wow. They have to compete with foreign workers who are willing to work for half their salary and AI, which is a supercomputer. So how can we compete with that question mark? I was stunned when I read that. He said, I knew that things were bad for our recent college grads, but I didn't realize that they were this bad. Said the job market is freezing up, and this is especially true for entry-level workers. Interesting. At this stage, AI is already doing much of the work that vast numbers of entry-level workers once did. And a recent MIT study conducted that current AI technology could potentially replace 20 million more American workers. Wow, a recent MIT study. Current AI could replace 20 million more Americans. In the midst of this soggy job market, there's been a lengthy debate over whether contemporary AI is actually replacing workers. Hmm. The answer isn't clear, but a new study out of MIT is sure to add fuel to the fire, analyzing 150 million American workers. The researchers calculated that today's AI systems are already mature enough to automate the tasks of more than 20 million. Mm, Wow, someone said they worked, a single mom said she worked at Meta in 2020. It represented safety and stability, a place to work hard and retire from. So when she was let go in February in a round of layoffs aimed at low performers, it felt like a punch in the gut. Wow, 9 months later, my severance and savings have run dry. I'm struggling to find a tech job, and I feel that the low performer label is part of the reason. I'm no longer the same happy-go-lucky person I used to be, applying for jobs with excitement. Interesting. 9 months later, she said her severance and savings have run dry and struggling to find a tech job. And she might have to find another type of job and feel that the low performer label is part of the reason why a low performer label. I'm no longer the same happy-go-lucky. Why she said she no longer the same happy-go-lucky person she used to be, applying for jobs with excitement. Wow, with excitement. Interesting. A few years ago, it was pretty easy to find a good paying job, but now things have completely flipped around. And even many of those that are employed are not making enough to be able to afford a decent lifestyle. Wow. An American retail worker earns 51% less than the amount required to afford a typical rental apartment, real estate brokerage reference said in a statement released on November 26th. The typical retail worker in America earns $34,000 a year, the company said. A renter would need to earn $71,000 to afford the typical apartment. Interesting. And only, yeah, that's half the people out of there. If you don't make enough money to be able to pay rent on an apartment, what are your options? I suppose that you can move in with your people or stay in a van down by the river. Said, by the way, millions of young Americans are in cars, vans, or RVs today. That is something that I've discussed extensively in previous articles. Standard of living is being eviscerated. Um, Meanwhile, those at the very top of the economic pyramid have more money than they know what to do with. Interest in the top 1% have seen their wealth increase by 4 trillion. And their wealth hit a record 52 trillion in the second quarter. Wow. I keep trying to warn everyone that this is not going to go well in the future. There are millions upon millions of Americans that can't make a decent um lifestyle no matter how hard they try. Wow, he said no matter how hard they try, millions and millions. Wow. No matter how hard they try, wow. And the same thing is happening in countless other nations all over the globe. Wow, so it's globally. So I have never seen so much economic frustration among young adults as I am seeing right now. The anger is percolating just under the surface and it won't be too long before it explodes. Wow. Interesting. Hmm. So yeah, that was an interesting article, man, about U.S. businesses are going bankrupt at an absolutely blistering pace, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Man, we got American businesses going bankrupt at an absolutely blistering pace. I've never seen an article like that saying how bad it is for American businesses right now. Interesting. And are these location independent businesses or location dependent businesses? I wonder, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Looks like revolution time, for the most part, in a lot of different countries, especially Western countries, with low fertility rates. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that's what it is, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Um, Holla.